We are starting with a new paragraph in the same section. All the world's possibilities in man are waiting as the tree waits in its seed. These are the opening lines of the new paragraph. But let us see the link between these lines and the last four lines of the previous one. We have here a Manichaean creator and destroyer. This can abolish man, annul his world. But there is a guardian power. There are hands that say, karma is divine, regard the human scene. These two lines, but there is a guardian power. There are hands that say, karma is divine, regard the human scene. From not only a turning point in the previous paragraph, de volta, as one would call in a sonnet, but these are also a preface to what is going to follow in the next paragraph. That is what we got here. Calm eyes divine regard the human scene. All the worlds. What do these common eyes see? These common eyes see that all the world's possibilities in man are waiting in him, as does a tree in the seed. When the proper conditions for the sowing of the seed are present, it will strike roots, it will shoot out branches, it will spread out into luxurious shape like a banyan tree. That is what waits in the seed. Similar are the prospects of man also waiting in him in the seed state, in the bija rupa, in man's consciousness, in man's soul, in man's build-up, in the mental being. These are the possibilities which are already present here. So this is the beginning of the new paragraph, which is already indicated by the previous two lines. Karma is divine, regard the human scene. The human scene is going to see these possibilities here. But before that we have the contrast picture, where the turning point, where the volta is kind of clinched. A Manichaean creator and destroyer. This can abolish man, annul his world. The demoniac forces which lie embedded in the subconscious, which are dwelling, occupying his subconscious world, they can spring up, they can arise, they can surge up and destroy not only man, but also destroy the world in which he is living. Such dangerous possibilities are present already there. Now this phrase, a Manichaean creator, is an interesting phrase. It brings out distinctly the duality in man's nature. He is good and he is evil. He is dark side, he is bright side. The prospects of happiness in contrast to the suffering and the pain in which he lives. So it is in that contrast you have got a very apt phrase, Manichaean, which speaks of basically of the duality which is present in the existence now. The existential reality is a dual reality of good and evil, of bright and dark. And it is that phrase which is now introduced here, a Manichaean creator, that is what he says. And also he is a destroyer, because he is Manichaean. He has both these sides of creation, of giving rise to something new, and of destroying not only bad, but also possibly the good. That is what he can do, that creator, Manichaean. Now, in that sense, the essay is very systematically developed. The essay in poetry is very systematically developed. The Manichaean, what was described earlier so far in the essay, was the dark side of the subconscious, of the Titan and the Fury and the Jinn. Now what is going to be described are the goddess of the possible light which can enter into the life of man. So in that sense, the essay is very well knit, very well organized in its logical and thought structure. A Manichaean creator and destroyer. Now this phrase Manichaean appears in one of Sriaubendu's very early writings during the Arya period, if not earlier than the Arya period. In the early 1910s, that phrase appears in one of his essays, and he speaks there of what a Manichaean struggle is there on earth. The struggle on earth, the Manichaean struggle, the description is something like this. Manichaean struggle is the mysterious conflict, the Manichaean struggle, the inextricable tangle here of good and evil are justly dealt with according to their kind. Good according to good's kind, bad according to bad's kind. This duly rewarded and that duly punished. What is good is rewarded, what is bad is punished. This duly rewarded and that duly punished. In other words and other births. You go to other worlds after death. You are either rewarded or you are punished. But that doesn't stop with that alone. It continues when you are reborn. When you take the next birth, again the good and the evil follow you. Both of them follow you. That is the Manichaean struggle which is present inevitably on the earth. And the real problem which Savitri is seeing is the struggle in human nature. She has to be fully aware of it and then find out the solution that it is resolved. The Manichaean struggle, the mysterious conflict, the Manichaean struggle, the inextricable tangle here of good and evil are justly dealt with according to their kind. This duly rewarded and that duly punished. In other worlds and other births. Here is therefore a dominant, one might say, moral law which is prevalent in the human consciousness. But it is much deeper than the moral law. It is present in the occult depth of man, in his subconscious, and it is there that one has to strike the difficulty which is present in the struggle of this Manichaean law. So in that sense, we have already told something in this particular passage what Savitri is going to see, and in contrast to that, what are the prospects waiting for man. Let us read again those lines. A Manichaean creator and destroyer, this can abolish man, annul his world. But there is a guardian power. There are hands that save. Calm eyes divine regard the human scene. All the worst possibilities in man are waiting as the tree waits in its seed. The tree is waiting there in the seed stage itself and flower up soon. So in the same manner, there are possibilities in man. His deep soul is there, although it is governed or it is in the environment of these evil forces as well as perhaps benevolent forces. And those possibilities will open out in man under certain conditions. What conditions? That is what will be described shortly. His past lives in him. The past of man lives in man. It drives his future's pace. Because these possibilities are present there, he can shape to some extent his future. His present acts. How does he shape the future? By his present acts. His present acts fashion his coming fate. So these are the possibilities which are waiting in man. And what happens in the three divisions of time in the past, the entire subconscious is there. It is going to throw its influences on man's action. At the same time, his present is there in his hand, and to some extent he can mold his future, his fate. But also there is a driving force not only from below, not only from the present, not in the sequence of time from past, present to future, but the future itself exercising its force on man. There is as if a kind of a teleological imperative that certain things must happen in man. He is in a way bound, governed, guided by the future also. Future as a force by itself, independent of the present and the past, can affect man's actions. If he is willing to accept what is being given to him by the future, then his path becomes simpler, swifter, loftier, progressive. If he is governed only by the past, the subconscious, then it can retard, it can pull him back also, it can destroy not only him but also the world. His past lives in man, it drives his future's face, his present acts fashion his coming fate. The unborn gods hide in his house of life. There are gods waiting to take birth in life of man, in the house of life in which man is living. There can come and take birth the gods. These are the prospects waiting for man. His past lives in him, it drives his future's pace. His present acts fashion his coming fate. The unborn gods hide in his house of life. These are the possibilities, and at the same time certain kind of responsibilities are there on man, that he lends himself to what is being proposed for him. What the gods would like to do in him, he should prepare himself and work in their will, in their action, in the possibility, the spirit waiting in him, as does a tree in the seed. Now, the simile of the seed is extremely significant, is extremely important also, is metaphysically loaded. Bija, as would the Vedantic philosophy say, that all these things are present in the seed state, in the form of a bija, bead. Now, well, the simile is obvious, that you have a fig tree, and if it is sown properly, under proper conditions, it will spring up into a tree and grow into a huge, sprawling banyan tree. So that whole banyan tree is already present in the small little seed. Now the seed is biologically, one might say, something which carries the very gene or DNA or whatever you want to call it, of the tree itself. And if the conditions are proper, they are bound to grow in the form of a tree. You are kind of helpless, you cannot stop it. Once the action has been initiated, the tree has to grow. It will grow into hundreds of branches with thick green olive leaves of a banyan tree, oval shape, and it will again give rise to new roots, new figs, new seeds, and will keep on sprawling, spreading, expanding. The creation will grow on endlessly. That is the seed state, the bija state. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that among the trees, I am the fig tree, Ashwatha. I am Ashwatha among the fig trees. The tree of this world, of this creation, it is that in which I am present. It is that particular seed of the presence of Krishna which gives rise to this vast tree, the fig tree, the banyan tree. It is that state. Now, in the Chandogya Upanishad, there is a very instructive description. Shvetaketu was given the knowledge of the seed state by his father himself. The father asked the son to bring a fruit from the fig tree. He brought it and he says, look, the whole tree is present in that fruit. Shvetaketu asked, how? The father asked him, open it, break it. And in that small little round fig tree, there are hundreds of small tiny seeds. Yes, these are the seeds from which the tree will grow. How? He said, pick up one particular seed. It is from that seed the whole banyan tree will grow. Again, how? The father told him, try to break open that seed and see what is there inside that little seed. Of course, the biology will talk of genes and DNAs. Shvetaketu opens that seed, breaks open somehow, and sees something wonderful. He says, I cannot imagine how these are present here. And the father says that It is that subtle presence of this tree itself that you are seeing in this seed. The seed is there, but there is the subtle presence of that tree itself which is there. And it is that tree which is compelling the seed to come and grow up. It is the future which is molding the past, the present. It is a subtle seed which you have to see and understand, and from that things will happen. The future space is present as fashion is coming fate. The future, the fate, everything is already present in the subtle state of the seed, and it is that which will flower and grow. In the same manner, such are the subtle possibilities, very small, minute, minuscule, or what you want to call it, very subtle, which are not visible to the ordinary human eye, but they are present there, and it is these which govern the whole process of growth of the tree. That is the spiritual knowledge, the occult knowledge behind the growth of a tree, which is given to Savitri. In other words, in a metaphysical language, we can say that it is a kind of a condensation of a particular type of the life force which gives rise to that particular tree. This seed, this tree, this seed, this tree, this seed, this tree. A particular life force getting condensed in a specific manner. It is that which springs up and gives rise to different trees. Now, how these life forces arise, that is an act of creation. That is another aspect altogether. But the seed itself contains that life force, and it will drive it to grow in no other way but that. It must grow, a fig tree must grow in a fig tree, in that manner. To give another example, one could say that whenever Michelangelo saw a block of Carrara marble, huge, beautiful, massive marble stone or rock, what did he see in that? He didn't see that thing as a stone, as a piece of marble, as a rock. He says, I am already seeing in that a statue, in that marble rock. The idea of force of Michelangelo has already carved a statue in that block of stone, and then when he chisels it, use shapes, works for months, you have the final creation, the statue. But the idea of force of this statue is already present in his mind, and it is that which takes shape. In the same manner, the life force condensed in a particular manner with the material basis gives rise to the possibility of a particular tree. And that is exactly what he says. I am Ashwatha. I am present there, and it is that which has to grow from that tree. Among the trees, I am Ashwatha, the banyan tree. Krishna says that. And the beauty of this tree is, he says again later on in the Gita, is that its roots are up in the sky. The banyan tree which he is talking of, its roots are present in the sky and its branches spread down below. That is the beauty of the seed. The idea of force, the life force, the root of the seed is already present somewhere else, high up, and from that down below come out the branches and the fruits and the manifestation or whatever one would like to call it. You see, that is what happens in the case of a seed. All the possibilities in man are waiting as a tree waits in its seed. That's the whole thing. The seed already kind of programmed with the tree to come out from it. It is already present there. You can't help it, you see. It has to come out, you see. Now, there is a little story of a cobbler, Puranic story of a cobbler. He was a simple, ordinary kind of a man, so to say, but he had very deep inner spiritual realizations. He already, due to his work, his engagement with his daily activities, he had kind of identified himself with Vishnu, that cobbler. And Vishnu was, of course, pleased with it. And one day, Vishnu tells Narad, go and meet that cobbler sitting under the banyan tree. Huge big banyan tree is there. It is there. He was carrying on his business, mending shoes, preparing shoes, or whatever it be. So Narad comes down here, and cobbler is surprised to see Narad himself, and asks him, you are most welcome, of course, but please tell me the purpose of your coming. Why you have come at all, you see. Narad says that I have been told by Vishnu to come and visit you. Oh, is that so? He was very happy about that. But then the scholar asked Narad, you have seen Vishnu last. Please tell me what he was doing. You must be knowing what he was doing in his Vaikuntha, Vaishnava, whatever it is there, what he was doing. And Narad tells him that Vishnu was busy to thread an elephant through the eyes of a needle. Eyes of a needle, he is trying to push the elephant through that needle's eye. Vishnu was doing that kind of a thing. And of course, something which is not very easily understandable. Still, the cobbler says, oh, that's so. Yes, I know. It is only Vishnu who can do that. Such a marvelous act, nobody else can do that. It's only Vishnu who can nail that kind of a thing. Push the elephant or camel or whatever you want to call it through a small little hole of hardly 2 millimeter width. The entire elephant goes through, you see. It's only Vishnu who can do that. And then Narad was surprised at the wisdom of this man. He said, you are saying that Vishnu alone can do that sort of a thing, such a marvelous thing. Please explain to me how it is possible. I have been living in Vishnu's house all the while. I don't understand that. But you seem to know it already, you see. Then this cobbler, he tells, look, I am sitting here under the fig tree, under the Ashwatha tree. So he picks up a small little fruit of that thing. And he says, look, this is a small little fruit of the tree. And see this huge big tree. This whole tree is already present in this small little fruit. Isn't that marvelous? Could it not be only the creation of Vishnu who can do that kind of a thing? Yes, I see your point. But then the cobbler says, look, you are already astonished by this marvel, the small little seed that the whole tree can come, and it's only Vishnu who can do that sort of thing. But let me tell you that let us break hope on this fruit. And what do you see here? Small little seeds there. Look, it is from this small little seed that the whole tree has come here. It is not the big fruit, but the small little seed, hardly maybe half a millimeter or maybe a millimeter in diameter, the small seed has every potential in it to become a huge tree with spreading branches and shooting down the roots also. So if I sow this seed here, the tree will grow. Now it is only Vishnu who can do that. Vishnu, the creator, it is for him it is possible. So what are you talking of? An elephant being threaded to the eye of a needle is not very difficult. It's just possible for him. So in the same manner he says that because there is some kind of a presence inside that seed, that the whole tree becomes possible. It is a life force in this particular case, which is present, condensed, with all its life instinct and power and strength in it, that it can become a tree. Now such is also the possibility in man. In man there is a small seed state, and if that seed state can flower up, he can become tomorrow somebody else altogether, if only he consents to be so. If only he consents to be so. That is possible if there is a proper soil, proper watering, proper light and air conditions and things like that, then the tree can really flower from a small little seed itself. Such are also the possibilities present in man, and that is what we have got here in this line, no? All the world's possibilities in man, that state, that idea of force, the true idea of force, the truth idea, the superconscient or the experimental idea of force is already present in the soul of man. And if it can flower, then the entire future is his. All the world's possibilities in man are waiting as the tree waits in its seed. His past lives in him. He drives his future space. His present acts fashion his coming fate. The unborn gods hide in his house of life. That is what it is. That life force is there. They are sitting in his house, and if he is attentive enough, if he is conscientious enough, these gods who have not taken the birth yet, they can spring up, take birth also. Now we have got in Sanskrit a very pertinent description of the whole process. Ekam bijam bahuda shakti yogat. The bij, ekam bijam, one seed becomes many due to Shakti Yoga. If that Shakti Yoga is there, if that divine force is present in that bija, that one little seed, ekam bijam, one seed, bahuda, can become many. One seed. One seed with the universal existence by the process of force has disposed in many ways. That is what can happen from one seed. Ekam bijam bahuda Shakti Yoga. That is the crucial phrase. What is the process? By Shakti Yoga, it can become many. A tree, in that sense, already exists in the seed because of that possibility that life force being present in the seed, and because of the proper conditions of the Shakti Yoga being performed, that it can become many, that it can become a tree also by Shakti Yoga. In fact, that is also suggestive what Savitri has to do shortly. That seed is already present in her. That seed has to become many by Shakti Yoga. All those possibilities are there in man in the form of a seed, and that seed has to flower by the efficacy, by the power, by the thrust, with the push of Shakti Yoga. That is what Savitri has to do shortly. Shakti Yoga is the crucial thing in the whole process. We are told that all the possibilities lie embedded in man, in his soul. All the possibilities lie in him. That is a promise also that he is not just the past, he has a future in him, and it is towards the future that things can move in different ways. His past lives in him, in man. It drives his future's pace. His present acts fashion his coming fate. Actually, this tells you about the three divisions of time: the past, the present, the future. Trikala, as we would call, Bhuta, Vartamana, Bhavishya. Now, past is a force, the present is also a force, future is also an independent force. It is not a serial occurrence of things from past to present to future. While the past can influence our present, while the present can shape the future can also have an impact, influence on the present. It is a force independent of the past and the present. It is as if something coming from beyond to you which is influencing all your actions, all your activities. So, his presence acts fashion his coming fate. Fate is coming with its own force. Now, it depends upon how you are prepared to receive the fate. That is your responsibility. That is man's responsibility to receive the force of the future which is trying to enter in you. And his coming fate. Now, fate has different shades, different meanings, different connotations. In one place, we can see fate in its Latin sense, fatum, which is the form of act and creation declared beforehand by a will within. A will within us. It is that declares the form of act and creation of the present. It is fated in that sense. It is a will of the future which is now acting and doing something in you. It is also an unseen force which is not visible to us. Only a person who has trikara drishti, he can see all the three divisions of time, the past, the present, the future. We don't have trikara drishti. So in that sense, fate for us remains adrishta, unseen. We don't know. But yet, it is a will which can determine the present acts and creations of ours. Fate, in the third sense, is niyati, something which is governed by nature, by the cosmic forces. Niyati, things willed and executed by nature. That is niyati, that is fate. Now, here his presence acts fashion his coming fate. It seems to be with all these three connotations. Fate here, which is the Latin sense of the will of the future determining the present, the adrashta, the unseen force, the action of nature governing all of the activities. So it is in the combination of all these forces that man can move on. All the past is not only buried with him. The possibilities of man therefore lie in all the three modes of fate itself. And therefore when it happens, when that unseen force, that higher will enters into you, when the will of nature in its glorious forms starts acting in you, then what happens? The unborn gods who are living in your house can take birth. All the powers of light, of love, beauty, joy, knowledge, strength, all those gods who are within us, they can emerge and take birth at that point here, you see. So that is the possibility which is now open to man, and that is what Savitri is seeing in her swapna, in her dream consciousness, in her swapna avastha. The unborn gods hide in his house of life. The demons, the unknown, overshadow his mind, casting the dreams into live molds of thought, the molds in which his mind builds out its world. The demons, the unknown. Now, there is a deep sense here of the demons. DAEMONS. These are the beings who stand between man and God. They bring things of God to man. They take things of man to God. They form a link. And therefore, when the unborn gods are to be born in man, these demons come into action, into activity. They participate in this participation between man and God. The demons, they are known, overshadow his mind. So it is not anymore man's mind, but some other force, some other being who is really now influencing his thought, his feeling, his action, everything. You see. Casting the dreams into live molds of thought, the molds in which his mind builds up new worlds. So these are the possibilities now which are opening out because of these beings, helpful beings who come into play to help him, who bring things of God to man, who take things of man, his prayers, his aspirations, his hopes, his longings, his yearnings to God, and there is a fulfillment in that. Now, this concept of demons, or you can say even not just a concept, a mental thought, but a reality of these demons is what one might say was seen by the Greek rishis. Plato speaks of demons, these demons, in his Symposium. And in the Symposium, there is the most famous dialogue of Plato, one of the most famous dialogues of Plato. He speaks of demon. Plato had the vision of the world of ideas, prototypes, archetypal ideas. This is a lamp physically here, but the idea of the lamp, this is a camera, the idea of the camera, the idea of the table is present somewhere else. Now that idea becomes material here on the physical plane through stages of transition. So, but how does it happen? Now there is a demiurge in action. There is a demon who promotes, who gives the life force to make that idea real upon the world. So when that happens, then we have got all these material creations here. This is the chair here. The ideal chair is already there up. Now that chair may not be exactly what we have here, but the transcription of that chair into a physical object here is a part of that demiurge, of that demon incorporated into the system. So the living force, the dynamism, the push is given by the demon in the Socratic philosophy, in Plato's formulation, you see. So it is that demon who makes the possibilities in man real. It's not just an idea, it's not just a concept. Well, the possibilities are existing up there. No, they have to also become actual. Who is going to make them actual? This demon, this demiurge, this semi-urge. It is that which is giving the life force to make it real, you see. The demons are the unknown overshadow his mind. Let us read something about this demon. Which is a very interesting concept, very useful also. But as I said, this is actually something which is realized by a rishi in his formulation. We may not call Plato a rishi, but it is nothing but rishihood, you see. Demon, a god. Subordinate deity. He is subordinate deity. As the genius of a place or a personal attendant spirit. Each place, each house has a demon presiding over the activity, the place, wherever it be. Each place has that, what we would call as the guardian spirit or the driving force also. A physical manifestation of the soul or the inner self. That is what the demon would mean, see. Now, in Homer, I got two things. Homer says Theoi, that is God, and Daemonus. They are of a similar kind. God and demons, they are of a similar kind, almost same. Yet, demons are not gods. Gods are, in that sense, superior to demons. Now, in Plato's dialogue Symposium, there is one very wise lady, Diotima. She teaches a few things to Socrates, and she tells Socrates, love is a great demon. It is the power of love which mediates between beings and beings, the higher beings and the lower beings, between man and God. It is the power of love which mediates actually. Love is a great demon. He transports the demon, he transports human things to gods and things of gods to human beings. So it is the power of exchange, of mutuality, of love in a much deeper sense. Who is really transacting all these things? Therefore, when he says that unborn gods in man's house live, who is going to make them come together? Gods and man, these demons, this power of love, this power of exchange, of mutuality, which is what is going to achieve the future. The demons of the unknown overshadow his mind, casting the dreams into live molds of thought, the molds in which his mind builds out its worlds. His mind creates around him his universe. It is the mind who builds up the entire universe. There is a possibility like that universe the cosmos. But there is a beauty in the word universe. If you go to the etymological sense of the word universe, uni means one, verse, which is a derivative of the root versus, return, to turn, turning back to oneness, that is universe, to going back to oneness, that is the universe. So, this is what happens here. His mind creates around him his universe. It is that oneness which should come back to man when the demons start working in him. His mind creates around him his universe. All that has been renews in him in his birth. All that can be is figured in his soul, issuing in deeds its course on the roads of the world, obscure to the interpreting reasons to guess, lines of the secret purpose of the gods. The purpose behind all these actions he starts interpreting, because now is in operation. In strange directions runs the intricate plan. What is going to happen because of these cosmic forces, or the working of the three divisions of time, of the present, the past, the future, in what manner they are going to work, is an intricate plan. It is not just a chance also, it is a plan also behind that thing. How it is going to happen? Well, that is what will happen here. Issuing in days his course on the roads of the world, obscure to the interpreting reasons, it is beyond the capacity of reason, of the rational mind. Lines of the secret purpose of the God. In strange directions runs the intricate plan, held back from human foresight in their end. How it is going to run? It is that which gets back from him, but it is bound to happen, it is going to take place. And a far intention of some ordering will, or the order of life's arbitrary chance, finds out its settled poise and fated hour. It is bound to happen. It is going to happen. Now here again, I got another deep thought. And if our intention of some ordering will, or life's arbitrary chance. Again, these concepts belong to the Greek philosophy. Will and chance, order. Now, it is something which is determined and that is being executed. That is bound to happen. Chance is something unpredictable, which has no cause. How it is going to happen? We cannot know. It can be fortuitous. It can be random. It may not have any reason at all to spring up. Yet it can happen. Now, from chaos, from chance, from confusion, things can come up and bring out something of it, or there can be a will from above which will execute those things. Of course, the theological concept of something being worked out by will is always powerful. The biblical description is that in Luke, St. Luke, we have a description that there is an wounded man on the roads in the jungle. But then soon arrived a priest. He is guided by some force, by some will, something. He is guided by somebody. He arrives there and he attends to him and puts him on the road. Now, the theological interpretation or thought or thinking is that it is willed. The man is a holy person. He is bound to get help. The priest is bound to arrive there. And he is going to be all right, this man. So that is a will, according to them. It has been willed by God and it must happen. We have, in a way, a very similar situation in Savitri itself. Savitri is in search of her life's partner. She is going from place to place in a golden chariot. Haimam Ratham. She is moving from place to place. She is traveling through countries, through kingdoms, through forests. She has not found anyone yet. But one day, early morning sometime, while her chariot is going through some parts of a forest, suddenly she sees from the other side arriving Satyavan. The eyes meet eyes and all is settled. Settled. A God touched in time that the two souls met and they recognized each other's identity and all was done. God touched in time. In that sense, as if in the case of Savitri, this was willed. This had to happen. There is absolutely no chance of the two strangers coming together like that and meeting in a lonely forest. But it did happen because a God touched in time and all was changed at once. So that's the will, the higher will. Now this higher will, of course, was only in the case of advanced souls, spatial souls. Most of the times, we common people, we had to go through all the travesties of life and yet find our own way. And there is a possibility of a chance. There is a possibility of something happening suddenly without our knowing it, without our recognizing it, without any preparation from our side. Now there is there is always in us a deep hidden force. Unfortunately, we are not aware of it. We are not conscious of the inner voice of the true soul who is going to guide us. We miss it most of the time because we are all the while crowded by the forces of nature. We are living on the surface consciousness. We don't attain to the deeper sense which is present in us. We don't have that calm which is required to listen to that small, little, luminous voice which is there within us. That is the unfortunate part of it. As I said, so only advanced souls would listen to that. That is what happens, has happened, will happen also. Sri Aurobindo, here's the Adesh. Go to Chandranagar, go to Pondicherry. And as if everything then gets organized, arranged, there is a will from above and there is the ready soul here which can accept the command and follow it. That is important. When it is followed, then the path becomes a real sunlit path. Until then, we are only struggling, moving in a very haphazard manner, fighting with ourselves all the while, without any fruits of effort, you see. Issuing in deeds its course on the roads of the world, obscure to the interpreting reasons to guess, lines of the secret purpose of the gods, in strange directions run the intricate plan, held back from human foresight is their end, and the far intention of some ordering will, or the order of life's arbitrary charm, finds out its settled poise and fated hour. Our surface, washed in vain by reason's gaze, invaded by the impromptus of the unseen, helpless record the accidents of time, the involuntary turns and leaps of life, something which is spontaneous, which something happens without any reason, impromptus, spontaneously, straightaway, like that. Helpless record the accidents of time, the involuntary turns and leaps of life. Only a little of us forces its steps. Only a little has will and purposed ways. Very rarely we do some conscientious manner, in a conscientious manner. A vast subliminal is man's measureless part. The dim subconscious is his cavern base. Something which is above, something which is below. It is in between that man lives, and this keeps on happening in him all the while.